Remy pried her gaze from Erica's beautiful face, steeling herself against the woman's talons. Look, I'm not afraid of anything, all right? I just think we need to admit that this thing isn't working between us, that it hasn't been working for a while now. And just, she motioned in frustration. Move on. Remy let the silence drag out as long as she could stand it. Reluctantly, she looked up again. Yep, there it was. Not a torrent, just a solitary tear, bright in the glare of the kitchen's overhead light, tracing a silken path down the curve of a very soft, very smooth cheek. The urge to reach over and brush it away was almost overwhelming. Remy wanted to use her lips to do it, and then her tongue. Inhaling deeply, she shook the thought from her mind. It would be the end of the discussion if she did that, and then they'd wake up naked a few hours later, Erica sated and nestled up against her, Remy bleary-eyed and defeated, furious with herself for having allowed it to happen again. Determined not to give in, she watched and waited. The dull metallic clicks of the clock marked the widening gulf between them. Then, finally, abruptly, Erica relented. Well, okay then. Remy felt her own eyes widen in surprise, before they quickly narrowed again in suspicion. She kept her mouth shut. I can see you've made up your mind. Erica's tone was suddenly light, almost brisk. So I suppose there's no point in arguing about it any longer, is there? Her features shifted into an easy, vaguely unsettling smile. Remy felt the elation of a runner at the end of a 1,000-mile journey, right before she steps off a cliff. Erica stuck out her hand. Friends? It was a trick. Erica Forsythe, U.S. Attorney, Northern District of California, had never given up on anything that easily in her life. No, she was merely shifting tactics, staging a retreat in order to reevaluate and alter her line of attack. In a few days, or a couple of weeks at the outside, she'd be right back at it again, guns blazing. Remy knew this with a cold certainty only achieved in the smallest hours of the morning, but she was too goddamned tired to do anything about it now. Drained, she leaned against the door jamb and watched as Erica clicked down the stone pathway to the tree-lined street in front of the house. It was a dark and moonless night, but it might as well have been the middle of the day for all the energy coiled in that high-powered step. Erica's vehicle chirped to life as she opened the driver's side door and slid gracefully into the sleek interior. Moments later, the engine awakened with a low rumble, and Erica paused to look back. She gave a small wave, then steered the car away from the curb and disappeared down the street. Remy let the air escape from her lungs, her chest like an old deflating tire, like she'd been holding her breath for hours and had only just realized there was fresh oxygen in the room. She threw the deadbolt on the door and headed for her bedroom at the back of the small house, closing windows and flipping off light switches along the way. She refused to allow herself one more glance at the clock. Her alarm was automatically set for 5 o'clock every morning. No need to fixate about how little time remained between now and then. The sheets were crisp and blessedly cool when they struck her skin. The pillow still held the scent of jasmine, Erica's scent. Remy wondered groggily how long it would take the aroma to completely fade from her linens, and whether she was certain she really wanted it to. Erica was a gorgeous, intelligent woman who obviously cared a lot about her. It should have been as simple as that, and yet, for whatever reason, it wasn't. As the night rose up to wrap in an ebon shroud around her, one of Remy's last coherent thoughts was to hope, and then doubt, that she and Erica could be friends. That, and a desperate prayer to the powers that be, that they grant her this night, for a few hours at least, a merciful and dreamless sleep. He set the cereal bowl down with a thud, causing the spoon to clatter and the milk to slosh out on the table. There was no concentrating behind that incessant sniveling. He got up and crossed the room to the radiator and stood there staring down. He nudged at the flesh with the toe of his boot, then he squatted to check the bindings. The ankles were still snug, but the wrists had loosened up a bit.